Hey, hi, and hello, everyone. Gamer here, and I am here to do a director's commentary on Yuri versus Mikan. Um, I have done this before, once back in like the start of 2024, but not only has it been 2 years since that, and I think there's a lot I can probably talk on that I probably didn't at the time. Um, there's also, I mean, it's been 2 years, and I want to put it on my main channel on a platform that I think a lot more people will see it, and actually get to talk about this project more at length. There's a lot of stuff I want to get into, and we'll probably just, I don't want to spoil any surprises. I say as though I'll be in this video probably. But we'll just jump right into it. I don't want to take too long on just this introduction. So, you know, I will say, watch if you want to hear about more big special Danganronpa projects that I'm going to be working on, because I understand that a lot of you have interests in these. A lot of you might not also. If that's the case, I hope this can still be interesting from a battle creating perspective of like going behind the scenes of the depths of everything that happened with this project. So without further ado, let's get into it. We have this content warning from my friend Rabbi that was meant to hold longer than like a single second, but oh well. Love that ERB style title card. Mikan doesn't get one because my friend Guardian Dan, who edited the middle section here, gave Hiyoko the same like Danganronpa title card, even though I was like, I like the idea of them all having ERB title cards. But they got the little Danganronpa title card, and we thought might as well keep consistent. So, and I think they already had one for Mikan lined up. They had already edited one ahead of time. Yuri. I do notice now that the Yuri, I think I noticed it then also. I like briefly went back to skim my original director's commentary to see if I had missed anything, but the PNG in the front here, I believe, is like a lower quality than the one in the back, which is not my smartest decision. Maybe you'll get to see me correct that fucking when Yuri Mikan 2x2 happens. That's our first surprise. If you don't already know, I'm officially confirming it here. You're gonna get a Yuri versus Mikan 2x2. I'll explain more about what that is probably as this video goes along. Versus I'm already just at the title card, and I'm already like talking my ass off.
We built sandcastles, though it always ends the same, so each setting won't change the ending to a Danganronpa game.
Hello, gamer, hit film editing. I am.
You're not one to stay on top debates.
Alright, we'll probably do these 4 line at a time so I can play a bit and then I can talk about everything that we see here. So let's start with the writing. We built sandcastles, so it always ends the same. That's taken from a poem from the old DDLC, where Yuri talks about sandcastles. And saying pretty much, it always ends the same. So a Danganronpa game being on a fucking island doesn't change anything.
And Mikan's just another who was caught inside a thoughtless rage. No need for Monica. You're not one to stay on top debates.
Here's our first little detail. Caught inside a thoughtless rage. Monica gets a little glitch here when her name pops up. And this will happen pretty much anytime her name pops up. Why is that? Well, first off, because it's Monica. And second off, you'll find out there are more battles. They'll explain it.
You're not one to stay on top debates. But if you think that you can write, then go ahead and prove it. Since your death just proves that you're not great with execution. Your series ending left fans in more pain than that voice did.
Yeah, my editing is really elementary.
Please stop. I want us to bandage.
There's a lot I could do these days to improve this editing.
And I guess it makes sense that you couldn't carry a verse with such a broken back. I'm so sorry. I'll make sure that.
Shout out to Fox, TA Fox, that adorable Fox. I don't know what exactly the right name that they go by is. Some of you may recognize them. I know when I post these on TikTok, people will recognize them from like the cosplay. community or the object show community. They give an amazing performance here. I had first heard them in an Osaka battle, and I was struggling to figure out who to cast as Mikan because it's such a hard voice. That's a good line. I'm gonna probably be praising myself a little bit here. I can afford to do that. I really like. I think Mikan has some of the best like character writing in this, where her character is very meek, and so she very much does not like to go for direct sort of like disses and punches. So instead, she says things like
damaging cuts
like this one.
Will help those with touch, and I guess it makes sense that you couldn't carry a verse with such a broken back.
Like that, like things like that are meant to be at Yuri's expense, but are said more like indirectly and meant to be more kind.
I'm so sorry. I'll make sure that this checkup's quick. Seems you're getting so heated near MC, it could get you sick. Get a nice pack and some rest, and please don't be upset now, but I think it'd be best if you could get that pen out.
Like, I think that's the single best punchline from the entire battle. This visual kind of failed. I wanted to do something that's more like... It's a pretty good line. This visual was meant to be more of like... meant to show the progression of like Yuri's story. But the visual, I don't think, paints it as well as it's possible. Probably now I'll talk about, well, first off, hello, good editing Joker. This is edited by Guardian Dan, friend of the channel, and it already looks so much better. That is one of the things that when we get to 2x2, I'm going to be really glad to rectify, which is the fact that my editing stands out so much for these first two verses. Speaking of the first two verses, I consider this battle to be... Well, let's play this out first, and then we can talk about it.
So forgive me for disliking how the sequel had little content. Its theme and story bored me. The dialogue was corny. All of it added to an experience more lifeless than savory.
Whoa! What happened to her? Alright, so let's talk about these 4 lines really quick.
It's amazing how a story can do so
much with this concept.
So forgive me.
That's another direct reference from DDLC, where Yuri talks about her book. I think Portrait of Markov. I might be wrong. It's been a minute. But she talks about the book like, isn't it so amazing how a book can completely like twist on its head or something? And in the context of the game, she's talking about, you know, the fact that DDLC is seemingly a dating sim, and you get DDLC instead. And in the context of this battle, it works on top. And it will probably work especially... It will probably hit especially hard when we get to 2x2, both the game and the battle, about Yuri talking about how a sequel is very similar to the original. The sequel for my 2x2, Yuri Mikan 2x2, is not meant to be a one-to-one. It's meant to at least start as like a remake, so there are things that will feel similar and things that will feel pretty repetitive, I guess, for lack of a better term. But it definitely will change once we get to the moments.
So forgive me for
there's gonna be things that people will immediately notice change. It's meant to be a little different. That damn dust overlay. Watch a modern DDLC battle and see this dust overlay. They keep these classrooms dusty.
The dialogue was corny. All of it added to an experience more lifeless than savory.
Oh, perfect. I paused on like the perfect frame to do this. So yeah, during this little glitch here, you just see it swaps from saying Sayori to Yuri with a little smiley face. That's from our good friend Monica. Little hint at what's to come at the end of this. A little foreshadowing.
Yuri, that's not a real person. Guess I gotta
You've probably
help,
seen this little
'cause
clip on
you're
TikTok.
worthless. And I thought the case industry lady would be
Crazy, but I got this.
Now this might
Get boogie the way I'm about to drop it. Alright. So, before we get into you, let's talk about Natsuki in this battle. So, the reason why this battle even exists in the first place, I made a little series of Danganronpa battles in a row called the Danganronpa Saga. Pretty sure you can find that as a playlist on my channel somewhere, which is meant to be like a phase 1. I don't really know how accurate that is, but it's what I did. But the reason Yuri Mikan is made, it's like the first idea that spawned it. The reason being, I was working for a channel called Discord Rap Battles, and we'll just play it through. It's probably going to take the whole minute for me to explain. And at the time, Mr. Beast versus Squid Game was really blowing up, and so I jokingly said to my to the guys, my friends at Discord Rap Battles, hey, what if we make a battle that's really meant to grab people's attention, you know, view bait a little perhaps. And I said that as a joke sort of, but I came up with Yuri versus Mikan and this idea of something that, because Yuri versus Toko by Fresh Canal is obviously an incredibly successful battle. If you watch this, you almost definitely know about Yuri versus Toko. And so I was like, I like that idea, but I want to do my take on it, something that's a little more disorienting, for lack of a better term. And so we get Yuri vs. Mikan, where it starts off as a seemingly very typical battle, something that isn't the most, like, you know, it has its qualities. And I think definitely this first act, which is essentially the part that is just purely Yuri versus Mikan before Natsuki comes in, is the act 1 of this battle. And then it twists on itself again with Natsuki Hiyoko, and then it twists on itself again with the whole third act. So that was like the intention behind this battle. So now we're back to where we were before. And now we can talk about Natsuki a little more properly. Natsuki, played by Meride, who I originally got to play Kamaru, because I did a Kamaru battle, but ended up, I think, not quite working for that role, and so I pivoted and said, would you like to play Natsuki? And I really love their performance. They have such a, they're pretty much like the, for lack of a better term, the straight man in this. And so it takes a very grounded performance, I think. Especially as we get into the back half of this. And so, shout out to Meride and shout out to Natsuki. Alright, let's talk about this. This is what we're all here for. Look at the fucking... I shouldn't be upset. I shouldn't be upset. This is how I wrote it. I knew it would be received like this. Let's talk about Hiyoko.
Traditional dancer Hiyoko Sayan, keep baking up little Miss Cupcake. I got you, candies and beads. It seems when I drop you, I'll be with these to prep her coffee. But why don't we talk about this little rat who can't handle the fact and say don't like her back cause her character's flat. Such a pathetic act, Monica left you last and she gave you the axe.
Plenty of people have made it very clear to me that I rigged it for Hiyoko. And to that I say, not intentionally. I totally understand why you think that. She gets the little fun flow section. This was so hard to write. This took a lot of attempts to get the right syllables and the right rhythm. And Jingleberry, pinned comment here, it did such an amazing job. Like, truly could not have expected how well they did with Hiyoko. And I think the performances are really like my favorite part of this battle. Like, this battle does not exist without its VAs. And certainly you could argue that this is the most influential one out of the 4. We can talk about the instruments now. We can talk about the beat now a little bit. So why does Hiyoko's beat sound like this? So originally, myself and Gaming Plus 64, who was helping me work on this beat and this concept of a battle, essentially, we're talking about something more traditional, since, you know, a more traditionally sounding, something with big drums, probably very like, I don't know why I'm saying this, but this is what my mind comes to, as like a dragon dance situation, as a little, that's what I think of when I think traditional. Probably not what Yoko's version of it is, but you get what I'm going for, right? But we just couldn't make that work, and it didn't sound right. And then Gaming Plush had pitched to me the idea that there's a scene in Danganronpa 2 where there's a little rock concert with Ibuki, which first off, the fucking call this my Ibuki the way I'm about to drop it. The fact that she finishes it is very funny. First off, because she knows Ibuki dies, which she does know Ibuki dies. That's how she does. Spoiler alert. Why are you watching this if you don't know how Danganronpa 2 goes? You're Danganronpa fans. Whatever. I'm kidding. I'm very mean-spirited, I feel like, in this one. This is why I should be not left to, like, talk off the cuff. It's whatever. You're getting the honest me, That's the whole goal here, I suppose. But yeah, I also have ADHD. I don't know if you can tell. Hiyoko, she has a scene in Danganronpa where she has a little rock concert with Ibuki and Chiaki, and we thought that's a very funny twist to do for Hiyoko's beat, especially because it's meant to be such a hyped up part of the battle. It's supposed to be, the real like energy boost now that we are about a minute and a half into this thing. So you hear the guitars and those big drums. A lot of really fun ad-libs that Jingleberry did just on the spot. Essentially asked them to do ad-libs, and they had such a fun time. I had such a fun time working with every single one of these VAs. Again, this battle does not exist without them.
That point in time, there was an effort to hide how you died, but I'll take after her when I'm popping off more than you're right.
The little eyes popping back there that you can just barely, I think, see. It's a very like tiny visual. You can kind of see, you can kind of see it here behind Hiyoko slightly. Shout out to Dan for making that little visual. That's very fun.
You and Yuri butt heads so much, but in the end, the fight of MC Slab left him and Sayori were tied up, then collide.
So this is not what this line is referencing. A bit of a miscommunication between myself and Dan here. Tied up, then Komaeda. Obviously, Komaeda gets decked with the spear here, which, okay, kid. But it's meant to reference, because this happens after Hiyoko dies. The one I was referencing is when the gang ties him up after the first chapter and is like, we can't trust this dude. That's what I was thinking of, but obviously, I guess Komaeda gets tied up more than once. Yeah, I mean, most of these lines, I think you all follow. The candies thing, the thing that she drops the candy in the closet from chapter 2. I don't need to explain all these lines, right? I feel like there's a Genius page. You guys can find it. You're smart, folk, I assume. You're watching Yuri and Mikan. You have to be smart. But yeah, this is definitely the part of the battle that everyone really enjoys. I wrote it to be like a very annoying... I wrote Hiyoko to be very annoying and very, I guess, even hateable. Clearly not what happened. And I will say, when we get to 2x2, I don't plan to touch this verse much. There's a bit of writing that I want to clean up, but more or less, spoiler alert, when we get to 2x2, this is the most this single verse is probably going to be the most unchanged section, and I don't think most people will have a problem with that, since this is probably the best part of the battle. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, even more so when I thought about originally pitching this idea of Yuri vs. Mikan, the reason we went through a couple ideas, I remember talking about this in the last director's commentary, so I won't say what some of my other ideas is, because you might see them in 2x2. is that why Hiyoko and Natsuki work specifically so well is because you notice that they both Natsuki and Hiyoko make a little dig at the character from their franchise. So Natsuki says,
Yuri, that's not a real person. Guess I gotta help, cause on your own you're worthless. And I thought that
like she makes that little joke at Yuri, and then Hiyoko says,
and as for ugly pig, that verse was fucking shit.
that little fucking reticle is so fun. That's such a cute little editing quirk. That puts such a smile on my face.
You dumbass bitch.
Very fun ad lib. I also just like any time we get one of these type of shots where you can see like Natsuki in the back, or Mikan freaking out. I'm mixing them up.
Forgiveness, you dumbass bitch. On a beach should mean you do anything but stop its pace. So being put to sleep's the only way you can get to Hajime.
Whoa. I don't know what else to say, sorry. But yeah, I thought this dynamic was interesting because they would definitely, as much as they're from the same, franchises, I don't think they would be like on the same team. Like, I think the bickering, especially now that we're at Act 3, the bickering amongst these characters is so like they would all essentially turn on each other. And as many of the comments have lovingly pointed out to me, it kind of turns into a 1v1v1v1. Or does it, So, I've also got a lot of comments point out that there's a single person who seems to get the short end of the stick here, and we'll talk a little bit more about why that happens.
It's not fair how you get to belittle me.
Taken again from Danganronpa.
Even with that gross for you, the shortest temper I've ever seen.
Anime reference.
Your opponent, too ditzy to diss me.
Oh, I forgot to say, I was going to talk about, before we get into, first off, the beat.
Even with
The beat speeds up a little here and changes in pitch. It's slightly pitched up. And so let's talk about the rest of the beat, because I had completely forgotten when we were talking about Hiyoko. Hiyoko has, obviously, the drums. Natsuki, for her short time, gets a little, what's the thing called? Not a xylophone, but like the wooden version of it. Are those still xylophones? As a xylophone, I think.
That's not a real person. Guess I gotta
She gets a
help,
little
'cause
xylophone.
On your own, you're worthless. And I thought that
Pretty much each of them have their own instrument, actually, or part of the beat. Yuri has the piano, which is from the bass beat.
Just another who was caught inside a thoughtless
But
rage. No need
what
for
we
shame.
added
Go
was
ahead and prove it. Since your
these
death
strings
proves
that you can hear.
You're not great with execution. Your series ending left fans in more pain than that voice did. All those needles.
So Yuri has her strings, and then Mikan,
because your arms are more worrying when it comes to damaging cuts, but will help
you can slightly hear a heart monitor in the back, a heartbeat monitor.
get an ice pack and some rest. And please don't be upset now, but I think it'd be when the player by acting as soft as how
You can
your
probably
voice
hear it
drops.
best here.
Then later Monica came and brought it to a hard stop. Each chance of your story coming back is far gone.
So yeah, each of them have their own little instruments, and I really like that. I wish we blended them a little more, or we played with them a little more in the back half here, but oh well. All right, back to Act 3.
Fair how you get to belittle me, even with that gross for you, the shortest temper I've ever seen.
Forget who's your opponent. Too ditzy to diss me. If only Pissy Missy could go missing just as quickly.
Great point, wrong person to make it. All right, you all know. You've all played DDLC. Again, not sure why you're... Well, I should say... Not sure why I feel like I would need to explain this.
God, Yuri, jeez, maybe lay off the tea a bit.
Don't you have a closet to hide in, little piece of shit?
But yeah, now we enter sort of... not the Natsuki and Yuri, the little side plot of the two of them bickering amongst each other. Why does this happen? Well, I based it off of DDLC, where I want to say either Act 2 or 3. Yuri is a lot more the little bouncy animation. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention Act 3 is edited by Rabi. is, and who did such a great job. There's a bit in the after Sayori dies, when Sayori becomes a little more wild, and Natsuki, what I base Natsuki on, especially in this last part, is when she writes a letter to the MC going, hey, I don't know if you've noticed, but like Yuri's been really weird, and I don't know what's going on with her. I just kind of want like my friend back. I don't like what she's becoming. And this is meant to reflect that in sort of how Natsuki and Yuri interact moving forward.
Pissy Missy could go missing just as quickly.
So as much as like, you know, Natsuki joined in and was like making fun of Yuri a little bit, now that she's getting a little angry and a little more scary, that's when Natsuki's like, okay, you know, I thought we were here for fun time rap battle.
Yuri, jeez, maybe lay off the tea a bit.
Don't you have a closet to hide in, little piece of shit?
Oh please, seems none of you losers could out-rap me. So much anger here and I thought Natsuki's neck was snappy.
Yeah, pretty... Thanks, Hiyoko. Pretty much every character has, like, a part of the dynamic that they're adding to. Hiyoko's very much meant to egg everyone else on. Yuri and Mikan are going insane in two different ways, where Mikan's becoming more, like... no, everything's going wrong, and Yuri's meant to be more like, I will kill someone here, and then you have Natsuki, who's meant to be your like you're the only sane person in the room.
Malnutrition, you and that brat should both eat your words.
So yeah, we get into this idea of like, okay, now they're really all turning on each other when Mikan is saying this to Hiyoko. She is facing Natsuki, but you and that brat being Natsuki.
Hey, I thought I
Natsuki.
She says that. Now, the reason she says that is because from her perspective, oh, I was here to like make fun of Yuri with you. I don't know why you're quote unquote turning on me. And again, we'll probably get to explore that idea a little more in 2x2. Maybe. We're still developing it. Love this shot of Mikan just bugging out. She is not feeling it.
Hey, I thought I was...
Natsuki, maybe wait your fucking turn.
Yeah. And she says wait her turn because the way I wrote this, again, this isn't like the length of this battle. For how long this battle is, it's 5 minutes, which is longer than most traditional battles. I wanted to build up this back and forth and this little, the group part of this battle a little more. Where essentially they just be rotating, you know, in a circle, sort of getting to diss each other. And so you have Mikan, Yuri, Natsuki, Hiyoko. Goes in the order of them, you know, being here, essentially.
Tsumiki, you're a nurse. Go stop
But it all starts to break down.
Natsuki, for the last time, no matter what I do, you always get
Amazing editing of
with MC and my love, and now my fight with this bitch.
I think the beat speeds up here and pitches even more.
Big talk for banana hair.
Natsuki, for the last time, no matter what I do.
Yeah. And you hear these string plucks.
You always get in between it. With MC and my love, and now my fight with this bitch.
Now Yuri's completely losing it.
Just joking. Damn, Natsuki, when will you learn? I'll stomp and crush
The violins are going.
She just...
So Hiyoko gets a little glitch, emphasizing how everything's sort of like falling apart. This whole like they're coming to the nexus point.
Why is everyone against me? I don't have patience for these patients. I hate patients. I hate patients.
But yeah, Natsuki saying that when everyone sort of agrees that Natsuki's getting the short hand here, or the short end of the stick here, is very funny. But it is also very Mikan to like freak out and just be like, how could this happen to me? You know, I think that's fun to see Mikan freak out, essentially.
Patients, I hate patients. I hate patients.
Why don't we get to the point? The sharp edge we're approaching.
Wait, Yuri, something's wrong.
Natsuki, if you don't shut the fuck up.
God, what an amazing breakdown with the other two just like, oh my goodness, in the background. This is like originally, I think this was a suggestion from Gaming Plush, which is just that instead of having it keep up like whatever rhyme we were writing, just to really emphasize it, Yuri should just completely lose it. Yeah.
Natsuki, if you don't shut the fuck up!
Yuri, stop, listen to yourself, please. Look at what they've done to both you and me.
Again, I forgot to shout. I was waiting for like this point of the battle to shout them out. Shout out to May, who is voicing Yuri, who I think has my favorite performance in this entire battle. May does such an amazing job walking this tightrope of like, it starts with the more calm and collected Yuri, the more like thought through one, and slowly becomes more and more unhinged until she just delivers this amazing like breakdown.
Wait, Yuri, something's wrong.
Natsuki, if you don't shut the fuck up!
Like, that is I am so impressed by this performance. I think it's my favorite, and I think she's my winner for this battle. Almost purely based off of how absolutely phenomenal that performance is.
Stop,
But yeah,
listen to yourself,
here's
please.
Natsuki,
Look
like
at
I
what
said,
they've done to both
trying
you
to
and me.
appeal to Yuri's good nature.
I gave you
It's not
your
working.
warnings, told you to step aside.
And Mikan's like, well. Little glitch effect here to emphasize that like she's breaking beyond her own boundaries and going into their space. Natsuki is like, oh, two people approaching me with knives. What do I do?
Life as my knife sends a slice.
And that happens. Yeah, I think it was just, this was the ending that like at the time I really loved, and I still do really love it. Obviously 2x2 will not have the same ending. We're going to explore a very different path for this battle. But yeah, essentially the idea that Mikan just gets so sick of her opponent acting like she's all that, you know, she just goes for it.
Oh my god.
Also taken, Natsuki's reaction here, also taken from DDLC, where she is very much like, oh my god, that's a dead body.
No, I need to get out of here.
This is where Mary Day's performance also really shines.
Mikan? What the hell did you just do?
I made her stop. She can't hurt anyone now. Can she?
And also, Fox gives us one more amazing line delivery with the laugh.
A body has been discovered!
Body discovery. Okay, and I have seen people point this out, and I will reiterate here because now we get to talk about it a little more now that it's been 2 years and the plan is starting to unfold. Body discovery only happens when there's 3 people outside of the killer. And so there's Hiyoko, there's Natsuki. Where's the third person? And the third person is the viewer. I'm just kidding. It's Monica. It's Monica. You all knew it was Monica, right? We all assumed it was Monica, right? It's Monica. The third person in the room is Monica. You never see her, but, you know, she's there. How will Monica play into this? You'll find out.
A body has been discovered!
Who won? Who's next?
And then that laugh from Mikan.
Stay tuned for the next bad idea rap battle, which is on the...
One last little... Yes, there you are. So, yeah, at the end of the little outro glitch here, there's a little thing that says more DR battles, question mark, which is at the hint at the time of, like, the full Danganronpa saga that I was doing. Nowadays, people take it as a warning from me that I'm gonna make more DR battles. And that's the battle. I think I touched on about everything I wanted to talk about. And yeah, there's a lot. The story is continuing. For those of you interested, there's a little playlist that I made that I'm not gonna point at, but you'll find a playlist on my channel that has this battle and a few others that are part of what will end up being the ongoing storyline here. I forgot to say shout out to Glitch Dude for mixing this thing. Did an absolutely amazing job. And yeah,
This might give good.
for those of you interested, that's about the end. A few more things we're going to talk about. I'm going to try to post a lot more. I've been sort of slacking on battles. I've been just really busy with school, and I want to sort of stay on that. But I also wanted to give you guys a little something and hopefully talk a little bit about what's to come. So if you're this far along, I can say that Bimo Kibo is coming very soon, hopefully. Maybe within the month. Fingers all the way crossed. And this year, if all goes well, you might. This is like a big Marvel announcement where if I fail this and delay it, I will look like an idiot. But you might end up getting both Yuri Mikan 2x2 and Sayori Kaede, which I know people have been very excited about. And that will extend the storyline. Ooh. But yeah, I will actually also, if you want the beat for this, which I know a lot of people love this instrumental, that will be on my Patreon. Also going on my Patreon pretty much at the same time this video is being posted probably, is another commentary that I am going to be doing for Natsuki versus Hiyoko, which first off, if you don't already know, I made Natsuki versus Hiyoko. If you're watching this, I'm almost certain you knew that I made that. But if for some reason you've only watched Yuri vs. Mikan, there's a Natsuki Hiyoko. I won't spoil it, but it's a pretty wild ride. And I'll be doing a director's commentary on that battle as well. And I'll be putting that up probably early on my Patreon. It'll probably become public another time. Probably around another milestone or just something like that. But yeah, I hope you all really enjoyed this. I hope you're all excited for what's to come. A lot of stuff I'm really excited about. I got some big projects in mind. It's all, big dreams, friends. But yeah, once again, I hope you all enjoy. Thank you for joining me here, and thank you so much for helping me get to 20,000 subscribers. Truly, I'm very, very, very thankful for this position. And yeah, that is gonna do it for me here. So I will talk to you all another time. Happy rap battle.